Yeah. Hello and welcome to this Warno 1v1 game played on Two Lakes Duel. Today we've got Vintage Culture playing 8th US, and he's going up against It's Not Delivery, It's DiWarno in small letters, playing 79Y. So we'll go through the deck reviews, then we'll talk about the map and the matchup, then the deployments, then the game, and as always timestamps in the description. Right, so this is It's Not Delivery, It's DiWarno's deck, and he's playing 79Y, so let's go through this tab by tab. So 3 cards of supply here. Basically, these are slow, tracked, armoured, but don't carry that much supply. And this is fast, wheeled, unarmoured, and carries loads of supply. I personally would have this one as a happy medium as my third card, because basically you want to buy this one whenever you can, because it carries a lot of supply, so you don't have to worry about it so much as these. Obviously it dies to artillery and so on, but this is the one I like the most, and then I buy this one if I can't afford this one, and then I have this one. You can have this one to resupply these. You can also just get away with having 2 cards of this. But I mean, it's up to you. It's really just personal preference. All 3 of them have a say in the game. And then between the CVs, this one is 3 per card. And this one is 2, but it's way cheaper. This one is 3, but it's tracked instead of wheeled. And this is a Helo CV. It's only 2 per card. I really don't recommend Helo CVs for a lot of reasons. Basically, the enemy sees them come in, he sees it land, and then he artilleries it. So, or uses a plane to snipe it while it's in the air. It's just not very conspicuous, and I don't really see the advantage apart from the speed, which you get there twice as fast, so you can die twice as fast. Great. So between the CVs, as is quite common for 79Y, the other CVs are tank CVs, so this is the best option because it's the only wheeled one. Because if you get this, or this, it's still 3 per card, you save some points, but basically you're going to be quite far behind if you don't have a wheeled CV out at the start. And these are tracked anyway, so you might as well get a wheeled one somewhere. Infantry tabs, so Moto Strelky RPG 22 in the BMP 1P diversity. I really don't like this compared to like 40 points for this or 60 for this. I think it's always worth it to pay the extra 20 points. The advantage of this combination is that you can buy 3 in a minute, because 75 times by 3 is 225, right? Quick maths. Let's get the calculator up here. 75 times by 3. 75 times by 3. 225, yeah. So the advantage is you can buy 3 in a minute, so you can get some good momentum. But I really don't like them. I'd just be bringing another card of BMP 2Ds. Or actually, what else you could do, right? So clearly high vet BMP2s wants to buy a few of them and keep them alive. But basically, you've got no wheeled infantry. I mean, you've got this for the start of the game, right? This will come back to, but basically you've got no satchel infantry and no wheeled infantry. Also, this is really useful because it comes with a military police vehicle, and then you click this, Shift F, click on your tank, and it just follows your tank around and just gives it good stats. So yeah, I'd be a fan of getting rid of these 2 cards, and either you can get something like this. It's not so bad. Or you don't need satchels because there should be satchels in the recon tab, which we'll get to. You can bring Saperi RPO, just something in a wheeled transport, because sometimes you need infantry there in a hurry. I've seen some people just bring this in a wheeled transport. The other one is this. You could bring Pomachiki at 1 vet in a Gaz, and it can really help you at the start of the game. Or you can bring, Commentatura if you want. You can get away with not bringing it, really. It's not really a necessity, and especially given how tight the infantry slots are here. But I just personally like it. But yeah, I don't really rate the BMP 1P at all. I mean, I understand the 3 per minute thing, but you can buy 3 of these in a minute if you really want. And yeah, just some sort of wheeled infantry can be very useful. Just one card, it doesn't have to be both. It can be either or. And yeah, you definitely need something for when you get to the towns. So yeah, I recommend the Saperi RPO. Basically, you keep it at no vet. And you can have it at one vet if you want, but you always make sure that there's somebody else in front of it, and you just bring it up to fire the RPOs and then pull it back to resupply. And you should have one of these right pressed up close to the front line because of how cheap and armored they are. So that's one way of doing it. Like I said, just here to give ideas, right? Arty tab, so Acacias and nothing else. Um, Yeah, I mean, it's doable. It's just these are all 1 point slots, so you can get rid of 2 tanks and get get a lot of artillery. And let's say you did have artillery, right? So let's just do that actually. So get rid of 1 card of this, right? So that's 2 tanks, and then up vet, down vet these to 1 vet, and now there you go. You've got the same number of tanks, and you can up vet this one, bring a second one, and get some mortars for smoke. How great is that? Just looking through the other tabs here, this is a 1 point slot as well, so you could do something zany there, you know. Um, but yeah, that's one way of doing it. The other one is down vet this and bring a grad. Grad can be useful in 1v1, particularly in the longer games. Although I get the impression from the aggressive vetting that doesn't want a longer game here. But yeah, something like that, or you could keep those 2 points and you could get another helicopter, for example. But yeah, I think this div, you want long games. You want to get the 2 Acacias at 1 vet and then put a CV next to them so they go to 2 vets so you can snipe loads of things while you're building up your big tank blob and doing your attrition, and eventually you can push in. That's just the way I like to play it. You can try and play it as a fast div, but I don't really think it's conducive to it because of how expensive these BMP2s are. Although I can understand if you want to play as a fast div, then you got to bring it with the BMP1s. So it's all just speculation, right? You don't have to take my advice. Here we've got T80 BVKs, command tanks. He has 7 CVs total, which is good. 3 cards of CVs, that's good. But yeah, let's say you don't want to use artillery, fine. We come back to this, 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I really like the T80B regular because you can buy one of these in a minute, which is very, very, very useful. So I'd be tempted. The thing is, it can't survive 2 toe twos. Whereas this can survive 2 toe twos to the front because it's got 11 HP. This can't. But yeah, I prefer buying this before I actually get the T80BV. It's just personal preference, really. But the fact that you can buy this in a minute 100% of the time is actually quite useful. And I really like this unit. You get 6 of them, it's wheeled, it's got good stealth, it's got a Conkers on it, you send them around the sides, you put them in low intensity flanks to hold the line. It's got good stealth, right? You can put it in your tank blob and it can help shoot things, right? Very, very useful, I think. And then this got better in that the vet curve got changed from like 8-4-2 or 6-4-2 to 9-6-4. So yeah, okay, fine. 4 of those at 2 vet, why not? For the early game, it'll be helpful. And then in the recon tab, so yeah, you always want the Razvedka BMP2 because it's really sort of broken, really. So yeah, you always want that, and you can bring it at 1 vet because you've got enough BMP2s here, really. Then Spetsnaz Gru, you always want these guys for the opener because they're your airborne forward deployment. Just keep in mind that this is a 90 kilometers an hour vehicle, not a 100 kilometers an hour vehicle, so it will get there slower than, say, Commandos de l'Air on 152 easy. Not sure why I picked that one, but there you go. And then Razvedka just for recon. So like, I don't agree with this really. So basically, I think you need some sort of town fighting thing, and if you're not gonna go for this idea, right? Let's say you stick with your original plan of just having BMP ones. The difference between the rude one and the not rude one is that if you get the grenade launcher, great against infantry, but then it doesn't get smoke. So you got to be really careful with it because you can't smoke it, whereas this keeps the smoke. But this has significantly more anti-infantry potential because of the AGS. So, it's either or. I've seen a lot of people bring the 1PG. I prefer the 1P because I like having the smoke because it keeps the unit alive. But, if you can use it carefully, this is better, right? Use it like next to a building, and then when the ATGM comes, use reverse behind the building, something like that, whatever. But let's say you went for this. At the very least, you should be bringing Razvedka Saperi and the BTR 60PB, and then this is your wheeled infantry for the opener or what have you. The satchels are really good in towns, so yeah, I definitely recommend this unit. This has exceptional optics, so you do Shift F, you click it, Shift F, and you click on your tanks, and it follows your tanks around and gives you tanks exceptional optics, right? And between the Helo CVs, the Helo Recon, it's not bad, but if you have access to the MIA MTA, it's so much better. You only lose one availability, but it's got exceptional optics instead of very good, so it can see more. And crucially, it's got 8 HP. Now, this will die to one hit from any manpad in the game. Igla, Stinger, Blowpipe, Minstrel, whatever, right? Whereas this will survive any manpad hit in the game, and it will also survive OSAs, Rapiers, Tunguskas, Chaparrals, because it's got 8 HP. So for 20 more points and one less availability, I think this is a no-brainer, really. Shout out to this one. So you either want this one or both, right? The idea is that they're amphibious, you sneak them around the sides, you put them on low-intensity flanks to give you good information. You don't need both, but you definitely need one. So I recommend bringing this one. I think it's more important, but if not, well, that's a 3 AP slot. So yeah, I recommend bringing this one. AA, so Cubs, sort of a no-brainer, 4 Cubs in a card, yeah, and then he's gone for the double OSA. So I really like manpads. I think they're incredibly useful, mainly because of the exceptional stealth. It means that when you're doing an infantry attack or whatever, you can get these guys really up close to the enemy, in the same way that you cannot do with an OSA, because not only does it cost significantly more, it's got bad stealth and it'll die in one hit because it's a vehicle. Right, 1 tank round will kill this, whereas this will take 2 tank rounds, even though it's just 2 blokes, because that's the way the game works. So yeah, I mean, do you need more than 3 of these? Maybe you do, in which case downvet it, right? But I'd be bringing the Iglas, and let's say you don't want that many, upvet it by 1. I think you'd have a lot more success with this, personally. Because you've got the Cubs for the long range, the Osa's sort of this anti-helo thing, follows your tank blob around kind of thing, right? And this is for your infantry and, trying to this can get closer to the front line, so it helps you against the helicopters in a way that this, even though it's got superior range, won't. Helo tab, so your choices are this, which doesn't have that many rockets, this, which actually does have quite a lot of rockets, and these are 2 per card, Mi-24V or the Mi-24P. So the P, you pay 20 extra points to get twice as many rockets, dumbfire rockets, a better gun, and it is better, and 4 less cocons, which isn't a big deal, but you get 10% ECM, which for me never matters, but for other people, I guess, in aggregate might matter. So for the sake of 20 points, it can be worth getting the one on the left, for the extra ECM, and so on. It's personal preference, really. And then air tab, so just 2 sets of fighters, and then the cluster 2. Okay, fair enough, right? So this is against planes, this is against planes. You could consider this for helo sniping, if you've got helicopters attacking you. I guess maybe that's why you had so many OSAs, right? But there's lots of ways to build the deck. I don't think what he's done is really bad. It's just clearly it's geared towards an early game, and I don't think this division is an early game division, which is why I've sort of reconfigured it. You can do whatever you want really. This can be very useful, and it's 3 per card. This is like it's good. It's just they've got 9 seconds to get out the way, so you've really got to pick your moment with this. But yeah, this can work, right? It's just if you want to dive helos, this isn't really the one you want. You want this one instead. So just something to think about. Switching to his opponent's deck, we've got Vintage Culture playing 8th US. And we'll go through this tab by tab. So 2 cards of supply and 2 CVs. For a total of 3 CV cards. Okay, this is the kind of deck where you want 3 cards of supply. Because you play some really long games with this division. The whole point of this division is you just play it really slowly, methodically, take trades, take trades, take trades, take trades, eventually win, right? And so, or you do the air heavy opener, which I mean he's not got the seeds or the LGBT, so I guess that's not happening. So you really want a 3rd card of supply, and yeah, so where's it all gone? Where's it all gone? Okay, so we'll try and get you a 3rd card of supply somewhere. Between the CVs, well, between the CVs, this is 3 per card, it's just a car. This is 2 per card. So I sort of want to get rid of this and get another card of supply. And then between these, this is your big heavy one, and this is your frontline one, and this is the MTLB supply equivalent. So you can get them like this, but really the M35 supply is ideally suited because it's 30 points and it carries 750, whereas this is 25, it's slow, it carries 600, right? If you lose this, it's not a big deal, and you get so many of them, right? So it's not a big deal because you get so many of them, and it's faster, so I prefer just 2 cards of this, and sure, this can be your 3rd card, or you can get the helicopter one, whatever. Infantry tab, so 2 more CVs here. Between your CV options, these are 70 points for 11 men, no smoke. These are 50 points for 6 men and smoke. I think smoke is actually really useful, and infantry AT I think is actually more useful than having 5 more men. It's personal preference though. And this is 75 points for a recoilless rifle and smoke and 6 strength. So I personally, this is my least favourite CV out of those. Having 11 men is good in that it keeps you alive, but I think smoke and infantry AT keeps you alive more. So I personally prefer this one, but I always lose when I play this div, so whatever. Ranger's Dragon in Blackhawks upvetted once, so yeah, I mean at this point you might as well max vet it, right? Because you only lose 1 there, and Special Forces get better veterancy curves than regular units. Right, so that's plus 15, that's plus 16. It's the plus 30% rate of fire that's the important part. So at that point, I'd be max vetting it if you want to do that, and then these I'd just 1 vet it. I mean, because they're the ones you're probably going to buy more of. Right, or you could do it the other way around, whatever, more of these, less of this, but I mean, yeah, this one, it makes more sense to max vet this because you lose 3 there, whereas you lose 4 there. It's personal preference, really, whatever. Fire Team AT4 in the Humvee, so this is just for AT4s, I guess. And then Mech Rifles, Law, Mech Rifles, Law, Mech Rifles, Dragon, Mech Rifles, Dragon. So you're sort of missing the whole trick behind 8th, is that you want to spam out M113s. And this is your fire support, this is your cheap... This is your IFV equivalent, because you don't get IFVs apart from in the Recon tab. So bringing all these in cars, I'm not sure is a good idea. It can be done for like a momentum game, because obviously you sell all the trucks and then you've just got the infantry. And frankly, these have just been so priced out of the market, right? So if you look at M113A3 Dragon and you compare it to literally anything on Pact, so for the same price, sorry, I had to blink lots there because of, big blink, because I couldn't believe what my eyes were seeing, For the same price, you get 2 more armor, a better gun, a better ATGM with literally like more than twice the range, and better optics, you know, and the Grom and so on. So yeah, I can sort of understand playing 8th without the M113 spam, but look, this is the way I build it. I've got all that M113 spam, so whatever, you know, we'll see how it works in the game. Maybe I'll learn something. But what I would say is MP Patrol M67 are really useful because the recoilless rifle's pretty good and they buff up your guys while they're fighting. So I would be getting rid of one of these. Doesn't really matter which one. I'm putting, you know, whichever one you're not using as much. If you buy more dragons, sure. If you buy more law, sure, whatever. Um, and then get the MP Patrol M67. I think that's very useful. And then 4 ITOs here. So yeah, there's no point of vetting these really, because they're either being shot at, in which case you're running away, or they're shooting and they're unopposed. So you don't really need the veterancy for the you know, for the loss of 2 out of 4, 50%. It's not great. So yeah, which one to get rid of? Who knows? Anyway, RT tab, so 2 M110s is very normal to bring 2 M110s. If you're really strapped for AP, you can bring 2 of these instead, but 2 M110s is really what you want as this div, because it's a late game slow grindy div, you do the pew pew, you know, whatever. Between these mortars, this one goes further, so I prefer it. But and for HE it's better because it's a higher caliber, but if you just want to smoke, this is probably better because you get more of them, it aims faster, it shoots more, right? Yeah. So it's up to you. I just always bring this and I've never really had any problems with it. Don't bring this, it's absolutely garbage. Tank tab, so 2 for M1A ones, and then 4 M1 Abrams. You want this at 1 vet. Do not bring this at no vet, because the tanks, they just get... Because 12 armor is actually pretty substantial. It'll survive a TOW 2 hit. And then you want to smoke and leave. And if you're on no vet, right, for the sake of 2 tanks, you want this on 1 vet so you can actually fight. It takes 7 minutes for a unit at no vet to go from 0 cohesion back to full cohesion. It takes 3 minutes for a unit on 1 vet. So it's like twice as good, and you only lose 2. Recon tab, so this is where it's all been going. So I'd be... Okay, so just get rid of this. There we go. Now we've got 3 AP, and now you can get your 2 more CVs and have your 3 cards of supply, right? So that goes bye-bye, and then, you know, whichever one you want. I prefer the 3 top armor. If you want a tanky CV, you might as well get tanky CV, you know? And there you go, 2 extra tanks as well. Wow, great. So what's going on here? This is your only IFE, which I guess is why he wants to spam it. I mean, sure, you can do it your way, whatever. I'm just giving some tips, you know. Although I've noticed ever since I started this kind of series, the quality of the decks has gone up substantially, right? So I have less and less things to say every time, which is a good thing. It means you guys are actually listening. So yeah, this is all right. And it's the argument with the veterancy is you're either shooting unopposed or you've been hit and you want to leave, right? You're not like a tank where you get taking hits and you want to keep shooting for quite a while. This, you're either shooting unopposed or you're smoking and leaving. It's only got 3 armor. If there's an ATGM coming towards you, you don't want to tank it anyway, so you might as well bring it at no vet. This is good for 1v1s, not so much in team, because it's only 40 points for a TOW 1 and an M2 Browning, and so you just send those out all over the place, and that covers the width of the map at the start. LRS have airborne forward deployment and ground surveillance radar, so they're a must-have really for your early game, I think. And then this is your recon helo, right? So yeah, you can get this one if you want, but it's kind of hard to keep it alive, and then it tends to just kind of die. But I think the way I run 8th, at least the way I used to, was I brought this instead, and I would buy 2 of these at the start and send them out and just get some kills. But you've got to buy a fighter at the start, and the fighters aren't that great, although they're cheaper now, so they're actually okay. And so yeah, it's probably better not to do that. It's probably why I'm losing so much when I play this div. So AA, iHawk, Stinger, yes, and then Chaparral. I don't really like it. You want to hurt planes? You got your Hawk, which I would down vet 100%. You don't want this at 1 vet because what if somebody artilleries that? Then you've only got one left. And then, so you want 3. For the sake of 5% accuracy, it's just better to have the 3 because if they die to seed, planes, whatever, you're just totally scuffed. But I guess that's what the chaparral's for if these all die, right? But I'd be getting rid of that chappy and I'd be bringing the pivads at no vet. This is your anti-infantry. This is your IFV. This is your anti-infantry IFV. Shoots infantry, really hurts them. Very good fun to use. And you might say, well, why not the CS? The CS has less accuracy, right? Almost half the accuracy means it's going to do almost half the damage for 10 points less. So you're not really making a big saving there. You're just getting ripped off. So I prefer the regular pivots. Helo tab, so 2 toe cobras. The other option is 1 toe cobra, 1 hog, because this is much better against infantry, but it's whatever you want, really. And then air tab. So never, ever, ever upvet your fighters unless you've literally got 8 and you want 7, or if you've got 6 and you want 5. Because for the sake of 8% evasion, evasion's better than ECM because it's subtractive instead of multiplicative, but it's like if the numbers are always more important. But yeah, this got buffed thanks to somebody who must be really smart, must be a really smart guy, and you should subscribe to his YouTube channel. Some really smart guy got this reduced by 25 points, so it's actually a useful unit now. And then yeah, so F-16s, and then the cluster one, sure, why not? And then the A-10. So, like this drops 2 at once, which means it one-shots a heavy tank from the top. So why not get this instead of that? But this is 2 per card, and that's 1 per card, so it's up to you how you play it, Anyway, that's it for the deck reviews. Now let's get on to the map, the matchup, the deployments, then the game, and as always, timestamps in the description. Right, so with that out of the way, let's talk a little bit about the map. Two Lakes, imbalanced map. I guess they all are, really. But Red has the advantage because Red's forward deployment gets to Olga and Emma at the start, whereas Blue's Blues actually does get to Olga and Emma at the start. So I guess it's not that bad in that respect. But Leonid is much more easy to attack than Anna, right? And Cyan and Paul are about the same. So that's the trade-off. But yeah, I used to think that. So Red, they do get preferential forward deployment access, right? But it's like Blue can also rush down Emma at the start and get guys in Olga. But yeah, I think Red's forward deployment is better in getting into these 2 middle zones. In terms of the matchup, I vastly prefer 79Y to 8th because 79Y is basically 8th but with BMP2s, so what's not to like? 8th's tanks are better. The M1A1 is better than the T8BV, but the M1A1, you get fewer of them on 8th, right? The tank slots are more expensive. 8th is really quite slot limited. So yeah, in terms of Air Force, 8th has the better Air Force. 8th has the better artillery. Its infantry itself is better, but yeah, it's just all about the BMP2s really. IFVs are very overwhelming in this game. And so yeah, I prefer 79Y for that reason. Looking at the deployments, we got Vintage Culture opening with a Vet to F-16. As we know, he's only got 2 of these. He's got 2 cards of Vet to F-16s, so he gets 2 instead of 4. I don't think that's such a good idea, but I haven't seen the game yet. 2 M150s defending here, LRS defending here. This LRS could get to here at the start, so I'm not sure why he's not going for that. And then behind that, we've got Mech Rifles Dragon defending, Ito defending. He's putting 2 guys in the same building, which you never really want to do, especially when they're expensive units like this, because 1 bomb is going to wipe them both out. So you want the LRS up here, right, and then he falls back to here if he has to, or you can put him here, whatever. Don't have it in the same building. You could even put it here, but that's quite close anyway. The bomber will still probably get you. As you know from the deck review, though, Red doesn't actually have any HE bombers in his deck, and you didn't skip that deck review, did you? And then a CV for Leonid. On the right, we've got Stinger and Ito going to here. That's very defensive. 110 points. I mean, you'd be better off just buying another Bradley. I mean, I know it's 120, right? But anyway, LRS going to here, so he's not actually going into his own town. And then Rangers Dragons trying to paradrop or airdrop or whatever heli drop ahead of the zone. M150 coming around to here. Bradley on the left and another Bradley on the left. And the CV for Paul, which hasn't... You can also queue it up to go into Olga. So clearly just wants to defend everywhere and then play a very long game, which is sort of what 8th is all about. Switching to his opponent's deployment, we've got 79Y, and 79Y is rushing. As we know from his deck review, he built quite an aggressive deck in 79Y, so lots of BMP 1s, TO 55s, high veterancies on everything, clearly wants a shorter game. So 2 Spetsnaz group coming in here, and they will get in, because nobody's coming to stop him. Razved can be MP2 going this way. We'll see if he gets there. I mean, the LRS should beat him there, really, because it's wheeled. This is tracked. Recon Helo. OSA behind. 1 CV for Anna, and it's not been queued up. So you can just queue it up, right? So you just Shift, F, click, 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 and it'll do it all, right? And you got to click near the middle of the zone, otherwise it might just drive in and out without capping it. OSA on the right, TO55 on the right, MTLB on the right. Recon Helo on the right. Razved could be MP2 on the right. 2 more Spetsnaz Gru on the right. And 2 more Razved could be MP2s on the right. So clearly expecting a huge attack on Emma, which isn't actually going to be happening. So this will be quite interesting. Let's watch the game. Right, so they're off, and it's time to thank the generous channel joiners, generously joining the channel. They get the names on the screen, they get the videos early, they get members exclusive videos. Great way to support the channel. I'm currently a brokey, and it's not my fault. It's definitely not my fault that I didn't finish my PhD on time and they stopped funding me because it took too long. And that F-16 does get an MI2 there. We'll see if he comes back around for the other one. I mean, it's only got 1 HP, so he could definitely do it. Looks like he's not chancing it, though, with those 2 OSAs, although only 1 shot at him, so he only knows about 1. Here we go, so this is coming further out, so he's going to go for that. I've noticed this trend of people just buying a bunch of recon helos at the start and just suiciding them to gain start knowledge. I don't really think it's a good idea. Anyway, the OSA missed again. I mean, this is actually an up-vetted OSA, so pretty unlucky there. But you see how long they take to... I mean, what happened there? I don't know. I think he hadn't given it a land command or something. So it hits on, 3rd time lucky, what have you, but he knows one's landed here. These Gazes will get captured. The Spetsnaz Gru need to retreat into the town, really, as they are. Motorized Razvedka will lose to LRS because they're special forces, and they're in a building, which is the more important part. Gazes get captured and will be sold, so that's a 40-point swing there. And it's about to be an 80-point swing. 80-point swing there. Oh, no, the Motorized Razvedka cap it back. Really playing around for these Gazes here. And look, they're all auto-selling, so this is going to go back this way now. And actually, what? Oh, no, this is red team spawn. Yeah, my bad. Razved could be MP2 actually goes down to the ITO, so there you go, ITO useful. Useful ITO positioning there, I guess. Vintage on a +2 because he opened 2 CVs, because these are 40 and this is 95, so that's the advantage of the 2 per card CV, right? These guys get one that's 40 as well, but it's 2 per card, whereas this is 3, so that's the disadvantage you get as this div. So he's buying the BMP 1Ps now, and he's getting those 2 vet IFVs out. This is his 3rd out of 4 recon helos. T80 BV purchased. I don't know about that. I would have got a couple more BMP 2s first. And there's his 4th recon helos. So really likes his recon helos. Can this even see that? No. I guess it could see this, but it wasn't shooting, so I guess it couldn't see the units themselves. And yeah, I mean, so basically, red has managed to stop blue from capping this zone, but red hasn't capped his own +2, so blue's actually winning anyway. So he just needs to click this, Shift F back here, I'll buy another one. All this time, Vintage, he's winning. Something to think about, Because, yeah, you can just at the start, Shift F, click in the middle here, click back here, click over here, and it'll do all three. Alternatively, you can do this one, then this one, then this one, and that's the better way of doing it, because this is a +2, this is a +2, this is a +1. So you want to do the 2, 2, 1, not 2, 1, 2, because all this time this isn't being kept. But yeah, the main cause of concern is over here. So the OSA fires its last round and gets a hit. So there you go, the updated OSA with its 60% accuracy. Here we get to see the F-16 cluster from the deck review, which you didn't skip. And it does get 1 BMP there. I would have thought this would be a better thing. The advantage of this, so it doesn't really kill heavy tanks. I mean, that's only got 1 top armor, which is why it died. It wouldn't kill this unless it gets very lucky. The advantage of it is that it's got a 60-second reload. The problem is that it got smacked by an OSA, so it's going to be a bit more than 60 seconds now. This could have smoked. He did try. Oh, he survived. And then, I guess this guy must have lost vision or something. He was on an attack move order, actually. If he'd stopped when he fired the missile, because they just left the range, the missile would keep going for a couple seconds, and he might get the kill. Whereas if you're on an attack move, as soon as they leave the range, the move order resumes. They start moving, missile flies off into the air, big sad. So this Spetsnaz Gru, you can pull back to here, and Red, what he could be doing is, so he's bought another CV. What he could be doing is coming up this way, right? There's nobody here. And if you get the Spetsnaz Gru to here, you know that there's nobody there, so you can come in. But, yeah, punching your enemy in the face works as well. 0 vet M60s, as you'll know from the deck review, so that these will lose their mojo very, very fast. See, it's already normal cohesion from losing 1 HP. Now it's mediocre cohesion. You know, when they first changed the colours so that high cohesion is yellow, there were complaints made, but apparently Eugen knows best. Apparently traffic lights in France go yellow, orange, red, dark red, as opposed to, what, I don't know, green, yellow, red. Yellow means good, apparently in France. I don't know, maybe they like The Simpsons. But, yeah, so supply brought up for the OSAs, and as we know, he's got 2 cards of MTLB supply in his deck, which is bad news if you want to rapidly resupply stuff, because it means you got to use this one, and it's quite expensive. So that's why I like the Ural supply. That's why I bring 1 card of each. A10 could be deadly, but the OSA is upvetted, and so it gets a hit there. Oh, there's 2 now. It might die. Yeah, so there you go. There's your upvetted OSAs. I would have thought that would be a rear shot, which would mean that... Oh, no, because it's got armor, right? A 6 HP missile... or a 7 HP missile would do 6 damage. So it's still going to die in 2 hits, isn't it? Because it's got 10 HP. So the advantage of the T-80BV is that they both shoot at the same range. The T-80BV can survive a TOW2, and the Bradley cannot survive an Agona with 21 pen. So the T-80BV is making waves here, and Blue, he needs an M1A1, really. But if he buys it, he needs AA to protect it. Or he could use his fighter. But yeah, here comes the M1A1. And it does have less range than the T-80BV. But its gun is better, because it's got 1 more pen. And like the fire rate's basically the same, because this is 2 vet. Well, I mean, it's auto-loaded, so it's always 10. Whereas this is 1 vet, which makes it go from 9 to 10. The accuracy is a little bit better on the Abrams in terms of the stabilizer. But yeah, this is faster, and because of the way tanks work in this wonderful historical simulator, T-series tanks go backwards as fast as they go forwards. And you might think, well, there's no other way, Hippie. Broken Arrow has realistic reverse speeds. Anyway, LOS moment there. Never trust that LOS tool, man. You've just got to assume it is very much an approximation, basically, so it still will have had LOS there. Also, if you just break LOS, there's like a 1-second grace or something. This needs to get back or it's going to die, or at least move this up, although the ITO would probably shoot it. This cannot survive a TOW2, but it can survive an ITO, which has the same pen as a Conkers. This was a nice idea, but now he's dead, and I think a much better idea would have been to pull him back to here. And that would have just given him great vision here. He could have brought stuff up this way. But as we know, he doesn't actually have that many cheap units. Well, no, he's got motor stroke. He's in BMP 1Ps, which you can buy at 3 a minute. So he could have bought like 2 of those in an OSA, or a BMP-2 in an OSA, I guess, and sent these over down here. Sorry about that, I ran out of hard drive space. It keeps happening, I just need to go through and delete everything, you know how it is. It just stays there and builds up until you're forced to do something about it. But yeah, he could have come around this way and sorted this out. We also spoke about the fact that he doesn't have any BRDM2 Conquers in his deck, which I think is a huge mistake. We shall now see this survive that. Ta-da! And yeah, he needs some recon here because he can't actually see this, although I think he probably... no. Oof. Yeah, so he really desperately needs some recon here. This needs to be engaged. He's going to have to start running away now, because he just can't see anything. And he's just going to die to this if he's not careful. So that... yeah, I mean, it's not great, is it? He needs to smoke him back. He's... smokes on one of them, but yeah, he needs recon, so here we go, BRM 1K. But what you do, right, you just click it, Shift F, click your tank. It just follows your tank around. You don't have to micro it. Tank's always got exceptional optics now. I like this, I think this is smart. But you do need to bring an AA with it, and this is why, because we spoke about the Iglas, right? So this takes 9 seconds to drop, and all he had to do was just turn to the left or turn to the right. But he did that thing from that movie, you know, Alien Promethean or whatever, where he just went backwards or forwards, and then the big donut ran him over. So, big sad. Yeah. What's going on? Okay. I guess I mean, he's getting very lucky here. Wow. Anyway, another thing you can do with these is turn cover off and just go behind this. OSA takes out the Toe Cobra, which it would do in 1 hit, because these have 6 HP and this has 7 HE. I mean, yeah, it's rough, dude. This is why I like the Ural supply as well. So MiG-29 flies into F-16. There you go, that 2-vet coming through there. The MiG-29 would usually win, but that 2-vet, it's all about that 2-vet. Anyway, this is finally repaired, and he's worried about the OSA. He's bought artillery, which I really don't think was a good idea. I think he should have bought another M1A1 for that price. 275, 260, right? Could have got another M1A1. Could have got a mortar for smoke, right? Or even just a mortar for HE, right? You just mortar this enough, he will leave, or he'll die. It will take a couple of minutes. It's obviously faster to do it with this, but is it? Because you've missed, and now you have to wait a minute. So yeah, red reinforcing this, which, you know, it's up to him, really. If he wants to switch into attacking here, he can do, but he is losing this fight as a result of this, even if blue's kind of making odd purchasing decisions. And, you know, red, he's playing a very tough game here. He's just sort of running into 8th. 8th wants to play a very narrow game. Because it doesn't really have too much mobility. I understand that these things can move, right? But it's not got IFVs, basically. It's not got that many. It's not got any wheeled ATGMs, actually. It's got tracked ATGMs. So yeah. But yeah, in the open plain, a wall of T-80BV, and this is basically open. I know there's some trees, but it's basically unobstructed vision here. The T-80BVs would win this fight because they've got better range than the M1A1, right? And as we spoke about before, this can survive a hit from a Toe 2. This can't survive a hit from an Agona. So, bit of an overextension there by blue, and the T-80BVs clean him up. And there's a lot here now. Akatsuya purchased, because he's not got any mortars for smoke, as you'll know from the deck review. And yeah, red simultaneously trying to push here, but this is like the lack of man pads just coming through all the time. There should be a man pad in this push, but he didn't bring him in his deck. He brought 2 cards of upvetted OSAs. And the OSAs, you know, they're doing good work, but when he sends this over to here, this is going to start shooting it, whereas it wouldn't shoot an Igla, right? And 1 Igla hit, he's got to leave even if he doesn't die, and 1 Igla hit on this would kill it. So yeah, it's rough. And sometimes you just miss loads with this anyway. But yeah, he's getting closer. Oh, this is on a move order, not a tap move. There you go, so when it counts, he gets it. And Akatsuya working. Okay, so that's why he bought the Akatsuya. I suppose it makes more sense now. Hitting that is very important, and this is why you don't put everybody in the same thing. I think he did miss it slightly. Like, you literally need to have it right on the middle there, or as you can see, it lands right next to it and doesn't do anything. Lands right next to it and doesn't do anything. Broken Arrow has much better artillery gameplay. How the turntables. Having said that, in Broken Arrow you get 6 units. No joke. 12 if you include the transports. So just all this just wouldn't be here, really. This would be a second player. This would be a second player, basically. This would be a whole game in Broken Arrow. You can see why it's so popular among a certain class of people. Yeah, Ursa might die. We'll see. Like, one direct hit from this is basically dead. Because I think it's got a multiplier, because it's less than 1. I think it actually does more than 4.91 or what have you. Here we go. Yeah, I was right. And there you go. So, you know, artillery in Warno, it still does stuff, but it's mainly about, like, sniping as opposed to suppression of an area and stuff like that. It doesn't really happen in Warno. But there you go. See, that landed right on him. He got him. So, you know, right now, I mean, I think Blue's in the better position in that he literally just has to defend all game and then he'll win, because he got more points on the board. But Red has the better actual position in that the Razvedka BMP2's up to here, which messes up this reinforcement line, and over here he seems to be winning just on quantity of stuff. Although, you know, he's struggling to keep all his forces engaged. I really do think he should have that BRDM2 Conquers in his deck. I think that would be very, very useful. You obviously don't want this going first, but you see that this with its 15 kinetic pen cannot one-shot this with its 4 armor. Yeah, so we've got a little bit of recon here, but really there should be a Spetsnaz Gru, although I think they all died, right, because he bought 4 at the start. This is the last remaining citizen. 1 got sent out here to die, 1 was killed in here, and the other 1 walked down here and died, so, you know, it's pretty rough. Is that like a plane or something? Oh yeah, that's that MiG-29 from earlier. So yeah, the mech rifles, you know, they're doing their best, but so double toe 2 hit there. Oh, I wanted to see if both would hit, see if he would survive. Anyway, you see how they're on attack move orders. It's a shame. Oh, that one wasn't. Blimey. Or it was still in range or something. Cluster comes back out. These are too close together, but it will survive. You'll see. As you can see, it survived, and the cluster did not. So, you know, basically, this cluster, right, he sent it out before, and he was like, oh, there's OSAs there, I won't dive it. And then he just sent it out again, and the OSAs are still here, right? So, got a bit of an object permeance problem there. But yeah, Red's definitely winning this, you know, he's making some ground, although, you know, he's taking losses, as you can see. I think he needs a bit more recon infantry. Another death there. That didn't drop. Counterattack from Blue on this side. Yeah, iHawk hasn't unloaded, so this should get its runoff. You can use this against infantry, because even though it's cluster, and cluster's better against vehicles, it does have anti-infantry potential, and this is a very large payload. That's 4 tons, basically, 4 metric tons, so... Anyway, he can move now. All he has to do is reverse, but what he did was he fast moved this way, so he turned around on the spot and died there. So you got to be very, very careful with your movement. It's not Broken Arrow, you know. Things move in a very clunky way in this game, unlike in Broken Arrow. So I mentioned how much I love Broken Arrow now, even though I only get 12 units. Anyway, basically I just want the games to copy the best parts of each other, but you know what'll happen. They'll copy the worst parts. Like how we got command and control mode in Warno after the last Broken Arrow beta. It's like, oh, here's a bad game mode for you. Here's the worst part of Broken Arrow. Thanks! But competition's always good for the consumer. Don't be one of these people, these fanboys, right? Don't do Eugen's job for them in terms of marketing and stuff, right? Get some more recon. But generally, you know, sell this. Get another 60 points. Sell this. Bring the Ural supplies, your third card of supplies. Have 2 cards of these, because they'd be lasting much longer here. You wouldn't need these 2, you'd only need 1, right? But yeah, Blue, he's made it in here, and that's bad news for Red. But Red's made it in here, so it's working out. He's making a beeline for the church because religious people can see further than atheists. This is how far an atheist can see, and this is how far a religious person can see. So always go for the church. Always try and get recon in the church. I believe the ITO was in the church before as well, and that's really smart at getting you good sort of vision and stuff. To be honest, he could have destroyed it with this, but you can also just fight, I guess. But yeah, Red now has the problem, which we spoke about in the deck review, where he has no wheeled infantry in his infantry tab, and he didn't bring the Razvedka Saperi, so his town fighting capacity is actually crap. So he didn't bring the Saperi RPOs, and he didn't bring the Razvedka Saperi. So they're not getting here very fast, because they're not in wheeled transports, and they're not very effective in the town, because these guys, you know, they're 9 men with 2 machine guns. These guys are 7 men with 1 machine gun. Obviously, they're significantly cheaper, 35 points as opposed to 60. But that's more because these are overpriced, really. But yeah, as you can see, you know, one time I got told off at school, right? Basically, it's a long story. It's not important. Anyway, it wasn't my fault. And he made me write an essay called because when he asked me what I was doing, I said All I'd done was I'd just gone to the toilet, and on the way back, these guys were playing this game, and they said only people who are playing the game are allowed to be there. But it's on the way to the toilets, right? So I come back, I'm stood there, and he sees me. The headmaster sees me. It was a primary school, so I was like 9. And, you know, didn't give me any time to reply. I said but then he said you got to write an essay called well, whatever. Anyway, Spetsnaz Gru dies there, along with my hopes and dreams of being a primary school teacher, apparently. And and over here, you know, Reddy's taken it. I mean, that was very ballsy. He should really not be making it out of there. I don't care how much veterancy you have, especially when you got these 2 vet OSAs and a plane. And now he's sending another plane. So we saw what happened last time. He's making no attempt to counter battery the AA, although actually he got the OSA on this side. And so yeah, he needs to make sure he peels off this way. He just auto-evac'd, but I think it's going to work out anyway. And he does actually get out there, but you see it doesn't one-shot it. But yeah, Red is having a serious problem here. And the problem is, the way he built his deck was all IFV infantry, and then these guys just in regular trucks, as opposed to Razvedka Saperi or what have you. And so he's got plenty of capacity for cheap recon, I guess. But his town fighting capacity is garbage. And Blue, even though, you know, he's not got Flash or anything because Flash aren't that great, he does have Engineers, but we've not seen them yet. He should really be buying some of those. He really needs some AA up here, actually. Like a Stinger in the Forest. But basically, you know, Red won in the open field with his high vet IFVs, right? His high vet IFVs, his 2 vet T80BV is. But when it comes to the town, he can't fight. Because of his deck. So this is why you don't skip the deck review, right? You skip the deck review there, and now he's paying the price, the ultimate price. BMP2 was focused there. Need to smoke this, really. Bailed out crit. That's what happens when you don't listen to me. You get a 0.5% bailed out crit chance. Anyway, you see this is landing literally right next to that and doing nothing. I mean, this is 203mm artillery piece, but okay. And yeah, just trying to use the motor strail key. Really, like, Red is losing this mainly. Blue is losing this just because he didn't bring more infantry, and Red took the sides. And like, I mean, it's basically a skill issue from Blue. He had the advantage there. And over here, you see Red just can't push in. And if Blue, you know, why is he buying artillery? I'm not sure why that was done. I guess he wanted to like strafe this, but you might lose it now. Yeah, down it goes. So if this was next to that, it would have higher accuracy, 65% instead of 60. It can make all the difference, especially if it's not doing anything. But really what this should be doing is Shift F, click on this, follows this around, gives this a +2. Anyway, he's going for the AA, which is smart, and this guy upvetted his Eyehawk, so he's only got 2. So that's why you don't upvet your Eyehawks. Now he's only got 1. And over here, you know, I really do think red is just sort of out-microing blue. Like, in these town fights, blue should be winning. He has the advantage, but he decided to waste a minute's income on a second artillery piece. Right, he's bought another M1A1. There should have been infantry in here. This needs to move up and sort that out. Not sure why you're walking towards the enemy. And, yeah, you know, red just can't fight in the town. Which, incidentally, is where blue should be stronger anyway. But ever since mech rifles lost their third machine gun, going from 11 to 9 HP was pretty rough, but losing the third machine gun was actually really rough. And the price only came down by like 5 points or something, so... yeah, I don't like 8th at all as a division. I think it's really hard to play, and I don't think it's very good. There are top players who play it. There used to be this guy who was rank 1 called Kryjev. I mean, he's still around, he just doesn't play anymore. He plays like Armor or something. And he would just play 8th, and he would lose games against worse players. Right, and people would say, well, he's playing 8th. Yeah, he's giving himself a handicap, mate. He'd be winning a lot more if he wasn't playing 8th. But since then, 8th has had a lot of buffs, right? These got 5 points cheaper, Mech Rifles Law got 5 points cheaper, these got cheaper and more available, the M60s got cheaper and more available, the fighters got cheaper, and, you know, whoever thought of most of those buffs is clearly a very smart man and deserves your praise and adoration. And did he mention the generous channel joiners, generously joining the channel? But really, I mean, it looks like red is just sort of eking out blue here, and I would put it, I mean, he's doing a good job of, like, okay, I'm weak in the town, pull my guys back when they get low and heal them, and just generally try and push around the town because I can't fight in the town. So he's mitigating his losses, right? So you saw you had the BMP 1s and 2s over here to come around this side, that's very smart. You had a TABV here to come around this side, that's smart. When you're fighting for these towns, that you should just always be doing that, no matter which div you're playing. You want to cut the enemy's reinforcements. That's really not fantastic. You always want to be cutting the enemy's reinforcements, so check out this meta. Just buy another one. This is the consumer culture of the USA. We'll see what happens when I put 145% tariff on your M110A2. We'll see if you still buy a second one instead of sorting out the first one. So yeah, this could be moved up to here. I think he does have Conquers in his deck. You could put one here. But yeah, generally, you want to cut the reinforcements. So for blue, he wants to get to here. To be honest, this is already in a great spot. And he wants to get to here. And to here, crucially, because then he can just shoot people coming down this road, right, from here and so on. And that's very useful. If you're a div without tanks, you just do it with Rover Milans or whatever, you know? Or Iltis Milans, I guess, if you TKS. All Rover Milan divs have tanks. And yeah. You need 21 pen to one-shot a 3 armor vehicle at max range, but this is a 4 armor vehicle, but it's not max range, so. So yeah, you missed that second one there. Yeah. Okay, not sure what that was in aid of. But yeah, the M1A1s are just getting out-competed by the mass T80BVs, which you'd expect, really, because 79Y just gets more tanks. I mean, it's a tank division, whereas this is an infantry div. If it was 3rd Armoured versus 8th Infantry, 3rd Armoured versus 79Y, it'd be a different story, right? Base M1 should lose to T80BV, especially given that. So they're both low cohesion, which makes your rate of fire go down, but this has an auto-loader, which means that it will still fire just as fast. The main issue is that they've both got absolute potato accuracy right now. Rangers finally get in. Rangers should sweep this, no problem. Although this 3v1, so maybe not. Cluster purchase, and you see, right, so you know the AA is over here, so you come over here, but he could be doing this better. He could be coming this way and then round there. Right, so will he move? He goes straight forwards. It bombs in a line. Stop doing that. And this dies anyway because it gets intercepted by the AA here. So if it had come from this way, it would have got its payload off, and then it probably would have died, but it could have tried to get back out. Over on this side, the CPC got taken out by flanking T80BVs, so this is what it's all about if you can't win the town fight. You should always be trying to do this anyway. Always try and get around the sides. I really like this M1A1 here. And you know, if you're 8th player against 79Y, you can afford to do it a little less, but you just always want to be trying to do it. because it's just the way to win. Cut your enemy's reinforcements. And so, you know, this should be just aggressively moving up. He knows it's here because this line is always perpendicular to where the CV is. So you know it's going to be over here somewhere. So he should be moving up and sorting that out. But yeah, blue, he's basically routed here. Rangers used to get AT4s and they changed that at some point. I'm not sure why the Special Forces would get the second line equipment, but it's what it is. And the Rangers, you know, they're taking too long. So red's on this +1. And he shouldn't be because this should have moved up. Once it gets there, it'll kill this, actually. So yeah, red should really be moving this out. Not just leaving it there, but, you know, whatever. So the tick will stop and blue's in the lead. You need 100 points victory for a win. 100 points lead for a win in ranked. If it's a tournament game, which I don't think it is, then... oh man, that's so sad. You know, in Broken Arrow, that unit inside would have survived. I don't know if I told you that I got let into a press event for Broken Arrow. I'm really big boy pants now, yeah. But I did tell you guys, you know, if I get to 10k subs, then I can have some legitimacy and things will start going better for me and therefore for you, right? Because, you know, my success is your success. So give me all your money, you know, it just makes sense, it makes sense. And yeah, so that's why I got in, right? Because I said, look, I've actually got a channel that matters. And the bigger the channel gets, the more clout I'll have and the more I'll be able to do that. So, you know, I really do appreciate it. So I really do like this from blue, trying to get around here, but he needs the AA and he needs some recon first. Basically, the safer way of doing this is unload these here and just move them down through the forest, because this is just going to kill them both. And the AA is not really with it. Rangers die. He's reinforcing this. And yeah, it looks like Red's plan is probably to push for, what is that even called? Paul. He's kept his AA alive, his RT alive. And yeah, he's probably just going to die. So it's a shame because if he thought this out a bit more, you know, sent the tank and the chappie and a bit of recon. Okay, they're probably going to be fine. Is it going to happen again? Right, don't drive in a line. Alright, this time he just... Oh no, he did actually try to get across there. He just waited too long. If he'd gone forwards, he would have been fine. Anywhere over here, he would have been fine, but he went that way. So. I don't know, it's just a practice thing. You get bombed enough, eventually you start getting used to it. You build up a tolerance for bombs. You know, like bullets, you know, that sort of thing. Anyway, not looking great for blue, to tell you the truth. And, you know, red, he needs to push his AA up, really. I mean, obviously, so as we know from the deck review, blue's got one A10 Warthog left. And given that there's no AA here, one A10 Warthog can get a lot done here. And so these all need moving up. And if you're worried about this, you know, you put a cub back here or what have you. But these should really be up here. I do like the OSA being here, but this is way too far behind. And people, they struggle. When they attack and break through, it is very difficult to keep things going. On this side, yeah, the mech rifles, you know, but if he'd been a bit, obviously he lost this tank now, so this is just going to die to a TAPV. If he'd been a bit smarter about it, it all would have been a bit more segmented, you know. So you get to here, and then you get to here with your armored stuff, and then your infantry goes through here, or you just send everything through there, whatever. I think he's got one Rangers Dragon Blackhawk left, which I guess he could send around here. He does have a CV, so he could unload the Blackhawk, put the infantry CV in and try and get that in, but I mean, I can't really see that happening, to tell you the truth. T80 BV, you know, artillery lands right next to it, doesn't do too much, and this is the biggest artillery in the game, so yeah. Anyway, it's quite rare to see the BMP2 lose that fight. Got the same range. This has more accuracy, right? And, you know, this is 2 vet as well, so 60%. Although, well, I suppose if this was a no vet, it would actually have 50% accuracy. Anyway, this guy's having a bad time. Should probably fall back a bit instead of just getting shot over and over again. But I do like Red's recon game here. You know, he's got some recon here. A10's purchased. Looks like it's coming around this way, though. And this time he's avoiding the AA, so that's good news. I think blue is out of fighters. He might have one left. And yeah, so you know, we're struggling with the supply sitch here, and you just put this next to that. It would fire faster. It would literally be firing 20% faster. I'm pretty sure. Yeah. Well, it's minus 20% to reload time, and then the aim time goes down a little bit as well. So molding MiG coming out to deal with the A10, and you see he's dragging it over here because he doesn't know what AA is here. Well, actually, he knows that there's a chaparral here. A10 should have fought that. A10 should have fought that. That was really daft. He should have just turned and fought it. He could have won. Because look at this. This is a good missile. The gun's great. And, yeah, but he showed his back and just got shot. So, should have thought that, really. I think that would have given him the greatest chance of survival. Because you're not escaping. Anyway, so we auto-evacs back over that AA piece that he spent ages trying to avoid. But got a little bit fortunate there. Although it wouldn't have been enough to kill him. So, T8 BVs on the ascendant here. Typically, you'd want the infantry going first. Clusters out. Will he move out the way? He retreats into the forest where he's slower, whereas if he'd gone forwards, he would have been in the open and he would have been fine. Just needs to get bombed a few more times. He'll get it eventually. And the mech rifle's low, you'd expect to win this fight, really, but Blue's having the problem where these are in the way. And this, so you can't really do anything about it. So, like, this just might die in its transport. You hate to see it. So, 5 minutes left, and, you know, Blue's still winning, or at least it's still a draw. So, if he could just hold on to this for 5 minutes, it'd be a draw. But I guess that's not really in the vocabulary. But yeah, if he just snuck this round here, right, got it up to here, smoke, 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 run this in, run it round in circles, you win. No, it's not honourable. Shut up. It's a video game. They knew what they were signing up for. Also, he does have mortars in his deck, so he could have just smoke mortared it as well. But yeah, Blue, he's still hedging his bets here. He's still trying to eke out the W, and in return, it looks like he might get the L. Wow, I'm down with the kids now. And yeah, at that range, I guess the 3 armored vehicles will die in one hit. And yeah, Blue, you know, he's running out of stuff. He needs some supply up here. Like, this should have been getting shot at by this, but it's out of rounds. Needs another infantry in here. But instead, he just keeps doubling down, doubling down, doubling down. I can get in, I can get in. Well, this is getting closer. And you wasted all your air, you know, the 2 F-16 clusters, 2 A-10s, all dead this game. I think he's still got some tow cobras though, so I'm surprised we haven't seen a. That'd be really useful here. Actually, you just put a tow cobra there, and one there, right? And there you go. He's not getting in now. I mean, obviously the OSA outranges the tow cobra, but he's got to bring that up, and then you know you'd assume that something here would shoot it, but this is out of rounds, so you know, for Red's sake, you know, this is where not having any smoke thingies. Blimey, he's just floating like Jesus or what have you. Not having any smoke mortars really making this gap a lot bigger than it needs to be, right? Just smoke mortar there, you're in, right? Better yet, you can smoke mortar here, and then you've got fire control over all this, and you send in the infantry or whatever. But yeah, he can't get across this field because he can't smoke. So he just keeps buying these, and Blue just, you know, Blue obliges him by just, oh, okay, I guess I'll just lose my tank. So is that the game deciding play there? The fact that he just didn't move either of them, and then now this can just drive in. Also, Red really needs to get into the habit of evacing these after they've dropped. So yeah, Blue doubling, tripling, quadrupling down here. We are watching this, but I mean, okay, what? It's doing a bit of mind changing there, driving through the fire and flames. Imagine if he smoked. How cool would that be? Anyway, he might make it in actually. And then he needs to go hide in this corner instead of just standing on the road and getting shot. Right, and now do some smoking. Smoke. Don't just sit there. Okay. In the meantime, Red, he's trying to push in this way. And remember, all of Blue's tanks died because he just drove into cluster bombs and just let them kill him. So, Once this gets into this building, he's going to kill that mutt, right? Yeah, because no smoke. And then this is going to drive in. So with 2 minutes left, I think red has eked it out here. And blimey, I mean that could have gone either way for both players for basically the whole game. There was a lot of room for maneuver there. Like, look, I mean, imagine if this had actually come up here and given it a tow. This wouldn't be in here now, right? But imagine if he'd reinforced this instead of sending loads of stuff down here. Could have got that draw, but you know, another thing you can do is like try fast moving something down here. This probably would have killed it really, but you know, what can I say? So, Mott CV coming in here. The main question now is, will Red get a draw or a victory? He needs 376 points to win. And there's 1 minute left. So, if Blue can do something about this, right? Because I don't think this will be able to intercept those, because the buildings will keep breaking the aiming. So he needs 376 points. And like, if this gets in, I mean, imagine if he smoked. Imagine how cool that would be. Imagine if he hadn't bought that second artillery piece and had just bought like 3 of these, and these were there. He'd win. He'd win. Or at least, you know, drawn. So yeah, I mean the closest games are the best, right? But it also makes me see the lot, because I just see the problems. I mean, when I'm playing, I just see the problems as well, right? I'm not some sort of perfect gamer. Although I could be if you subscribed to the YouTube channel, then maybe I could manage that. But you know, that one clearly didn't make it, and there you go. The magic number has been passed with 8 seconds left. So if he'd been 8 seconds slower, it would have been a draw. So just something to keep in mind, right? And there's the W or the V or what have you. So yeah, really funny game actually. So this not delivery, it's DiWarno, rank 450 with 100 and my brain's not working right now. And then this is Vintage Culture, rank 139. So much higher rank, but taking the F there, or was it the L? I can't remember. It's all merging into one. So I thought that was a very entertaining game, actually. I did enjoy that quite a lot. So do let me know what you thought, and I'll see you in the next one. GG. I'm still scrolling, so it's going to take a few seconds. Might just edit that part out.